Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary.
You are listening to Kayak Adventure Series. Kayak Adventure Series. This is where you choose your own adventure. You want to be offshore? You want to be shallow? You want to go up the creek? You want to have a kayak that is sophisticated? Or a kayak that is simple? You get to choose your own adventure. Oh, looky there. That's a micro bag. I hope you brought the family. This is going to be wild. Hey, this adventure is going to be amazing.
What's up, guys? We're back.
It's been a while.
We are back. It has been a while. But excited to be back and excited to, we actually did that intro pretty good just there. Like the music we cut, it didn't replay again.
I unchecked the repeat box this time.
Oh, there's a checkbox for repeat?
Yeah.
Who knew? You would think there would have been such a thing. If we could put a man on the moon, supposedly put a man on the moon. But yeah, that's why we need Billy. Then surely there should be a checkbox on not repeat. As people start coming on here, what's up, everybody? Dude, I know you have too, but I've been through it this morning. Anyone with kids out there, raise your hand. You know what I'm talking about. You're one of them. Man, you just don't ever know what your day is going to be like. You don't know. I got 2 sick kids. Where wife and I are swapping, taking them different appointments, and it's kind of nuts. And now he's not back from his. And so my little daughter's upstairs. Sick as can be, so hopefully I don't have to run. That's why I'm using the AirPods, so maybe I have to run up there and help her until my wife gets back. But anyway, I'm excited to preview the year with you. And how are you and your family doing, buddy?
It's been all right. It's been doing a lot of traveling for the holidays, so it was nice to get home. But we got snow. There's freaking snow out there. I don't know what this is. We're 12 degrees cooler than the average temp. So it's kind of been ruining the fishing.
I saw you caught a fish in snow.
I did catch a fish. Yes, 2 days ago in the snow. I wasn't going to go out. And I was like, this is too good of an opportunity. And I got there and there was ice around the rim. And I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, that was cool, man. I saw that reel. I was wondering if you were going to catch one or not, but looks like you did. Just to give you guys a heads up, what we're doing on today's show, this is I would call this, wouldn't you say, Jake? This is it's a little bit of a soft launch for 2025. Now we have the schedule, we have some of the information, the eligible water. We don't have everything. All the sponsors aren't, the contracts, everything's not done.
A lot of people knew some of the events because we did announce them, ahead of time. So I know a lot of people were like, oh, everyone's so late to announce the events, but they've been up. It's just we had to finalize some dates and shift some stuff around, and somehow we still have conflicts, but I think that was an inevitable. So. Yeah,
for sure. The only one that we didn't have that was our TBD event we're going to talk about today, the Midwestivus. It actually kind of got moved from Iowa for the time being. We still want to go back to that city in Iowa, but it's a long story. Don't want to get into it with a new person that took over, and they're kind of getting their feet under themselves there. So we wanted to make it easy on them, and let's just wait. But yeah, we're going to talk about that one today. And it's going to be a fun show, a good show. And like I'm saying, it's more like a soft launch of 2025 season. And then we'll get into the actual preview shows for each tournament stop, where we'll talk more specifically. We're going to try to stick to 5 to 7 minutes per stop on today's show. Preview it. I'll show you the website. We'll look at the eligible water, and then just kind of go from there. But before we get started, let's do.
I don't have a home event. I don't have a home event this time because you got rid of Iowa.
Yeah, you don't really, but I mean, there's several that are not too far away. Before we get going, I want to introduce a couple guests. I'm going to throw this logo up here because Raccoon Creek is back as the official sponsor of our live streams and podcasts. And of course, Dustin Hoy, owner of Raccoon Creek, who fishes all the KAS events, except for when there happens to be a hurricane, where his daughter lives in North Carolina, and he's a good father, so he goes and helps her and misses the brood stock. When he and Robert Weicker were in the running for the team AOI, but it looks like Steve Baker and Ryan Parker just, it wouldn't have mattered. They kind of what Ryan did at the end at Broodstock. But let's bring Dustin in, and then I'm going to bring in another guest. We're going to quickly say to Dustin, bring in another guest as well, and then they'll stick around with us as long as they feel like they can. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Cool.
The winter's treating you guys good?
Yep, as good as it can up here in Northeast Ohio, but
Yep.
I'm at that point of the year where I'm doing stuff in the garage. That's my excitement.
yeah, I'm getting used to it. Believe it or not, I'm actually getting used to. I wouldn't say like I quote unquote enjoy it or anything like that, but I kind of enjoy it makes you get stuff done inside and do the other business stuff and focus on stuff I wouldn't be if it was nice outside. I'd be trying to go do stuff outside all the time. I would never get to all this other stuff that I need to do. So it forces me to do it. So for that reason.
That's a good thing.
How has Raccoon Creek been, buddy?
Man, I tell you what, it's been good. We're rigging boats and it just kind of doing some remodeling and just kind of just staying busy. So like you said, it's the winter time, so we can actually focus on fixing stuff we broke all summer and kind of just get our heads back together and ready for next year. So show season's coming up, so we're getting excited about that, kind of getting some game plans going, and I think it's going to be a great year. So
I think I'm going to be. What's that show in Youngstown? What's that one called? That I'm going to be at with you guys.
That's the Great Lakes Fishing Expo.
Okay.
That's the first one.
Is that one
January? It's pretty decent. Yeah,
it's a decent show. Yeah.
See, ours is coming up. Ours is 30 days away, but it just never is the size of these ones I see everybody else going to, which is crazy because like we're in like a fishing hotspot over here by St. Louis. Like it's literally like the catfish capital of the world, and like it's the smallest fishing show. I don't get it.
That's wild. Nah,
wild.
The Youngstown one. This is the second year for Aaron to be doing it, so it's definitely growing. But last year they had a great turnout. And this year here, he's got some really cool ideas going on. And I think we'll help draw some people in. And so, I think it's going to be just absolutely a great show. So,
yeah, should be good. I'm going to try to make it to Columbus if you're doing that one. I don't know if I'll be able to make it to that one or not, but I'm going to try to because I know we got Ocalapalooza, our first event, coming up pretty soon.
The week after.
I'm going to try to make that one. But I'll tell a quick funny story. You remember last year, I happened to be in Florida. I don't remember what I was doing there. I was in Florida, and I told you needed some kayaks or something. What would I drove this. Where was I? I drove, or maybe I was in Georgia. I drove a U-Haul.
You were in Georgia.
I was in Georgia. Maybe it was over Christmas. I don't know. Or no, it wasn't Christmas. Somehow I ended up in Georgia, right, in January, doing an event. Or maybe it was when I was doing that.
Oh, you were. Yeah, you were actually doing the promo videos and stuff for the K-Craft and was it the Primo?
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. And then somehow you needed some boats or something for a show, and I was like, I mean, I got a flight already booked, but I guess I'll just drive a U-Haul. If you pay for it, I'll just drive a U-Haul all the way up to Ohio instead. And dude, that was the roughest ride of my life. You can't go any faster than like 55. I'm sitting there just doing this for like from Georgia all the way with a bunch of kayaks on the back of this U-Haul. I made it there just in time with a Saturday morning or whatever it was, Friday. Can't remember.
Saturday morning. Yep.
Literally an hour or two after it opened. So we got them there pretty much just in time. And I mean, it was one of the craziest adventures of my life, but all by myself there. But anyway, show season is upon us. Thank you for being the sponsor of the live streams again, the podcast. We're going to try to do them, pretty much weekly or bi-weekly, if not weekly. But just keep up with them and follow the series and all the fun we're having on the series. So go check out Raccoon Creek. I appreciate you because you're not it's not like you're one of these companies that's, you do sell boats from people that live quite a ways. They come from quite a ways, of course, to buy from you guys because you guys are known as one of the best, shops in the region. But it's not like you're national, you know what I mean? Like a brand that's national, like GoPro or whoever that sells. So we appreciate you seeing the value in sponsoring this, which we are a national, kayak fishing tournament series. So we appreciate that, man. That support means a ton, and we couldn't do it without you guys. So go support Raccoon Creek whenever you guys need some rigging, need a kayak, need advice. These guys are the best. So thank you, Dustin, and stick around and let's talk about some of the events because you have a lot of insight.
Can I throw out one thing real quick?
Yeah.
Really, really cool thing happened to me this past Monday. Got a text said happy birthday. And I'm like, what in the world? My birthday's in July. It's kind of weird. And I said, it's actually Billy Chambers. I sent him a message back and said, man, happy birthday. And he goes, yeah. 8 years ago, or actually 9 years ago, we signed our loan papers and got the keys to our shop. And he remembered a podcast we did 4 or 5 years ago, he said, and he remembered that date. And
that's cool.
So I actually completely forgot about it and how life gets. Definitely want to send out some major thanks to Billy and everybody that supports the shop. And we're 9 years in, so which is pretty impressive. So
that is impressive, man. With the industry and how tough it is sometimes, it's got its ups and downs. It's cool to see you guys stick around and making it work and growing that community in this region. That's awesome. So appreciate you guys. And we're going to bring on Don Morse of the Autism Anglers, which is our newest. We switch up our charity every year. We raised, around $7,500 last year for the hurricane victims and pediatric cancer through the Punt Foundation. And by the way, the Samaritan's Purse is who we sent the money for the hurricane to. If you guys are just curious, we sent it to the Samaritan Purse. But Don, Autism Anglers, what's up, man? We're excited to be promoting your incredible nonprofit that you started. You have to tell us how it started because it's a cool story. But I will just quickly say that speaking of our friends, like Dustin just did, Billy Chambers, Steve Baker, you guys all know Steve, finished, angler or team of the year with Brian Parker. He always wore that hat, Autism Anglers, and it just always kind of stuck with me. It pops, it's got all the colors and it pops. And then when our son, he was going, possibly going through some testing and some stuff and just trying to figure it out. And I was like, man, that just seems like such a great nonprofit to be a part of because it's not just about autism. It's like Autism Anglers. It's like our group too. So that was pretty cool. And then we just decided to go for it in 2025. So hopefully we can raise more money than we did for the pediatric cancer and the hurricane because we did have 3 events that were literally hurricaned out this last year. So our attendance was probably half of what it could have been. And that, of course, affects how many raffle tickets we sell from the kayaks. But Don, tell us about your organization. Appreciate you being on here.
Man, I really appreciate it. No, it was great when you reached out to me and told me the story about meeting up with Steve and all that. And it's it really means a lot that we got people all around the U.S., Canada, actually all around the world supporting us. Wearing the gear and getting questions about it. So, but years ago when my son was 3-4 years old, we noticed that he was not keeping up with the other kids. So, we had him tested and, that's when I started learning about autism. And, as I was learning, I was telling friends and family about it and they said, you should do something with it, and being in the fishing industry for pretty much my whole life, I know anglers. And so in 2018 started the nonprofit. We went for it, completely made it. We got our 501c3 right away before we even started advertising. We wanted to make sure that we had everything legit, ready to go. And, the main reason was just spreading awareness. That was the main thing we were doing, spreading awareness and acceptance to anglers who, out of all the people in the United States and Canada, the largest percentage of people that participate in any kind of activity is actually angling. So it's just a wide variety of people that we can speak to. And it's just more from there. We had people sending us gear to redistribute and we just kept doing that. And now we have our awesome anglers program. To date, we've sent out, it's probably now approaching 5,000 pounds of tackle all over North America, free of charge to autistic anglers. So yeah, we send on average 500 to 800 boxes of tackle a year. out, and it doesn't cost a thing to the recipient. So we just have an application. You're on the page there. They just go on and apply, and we bless them with a box of tackle, a fishing rod, and now we're starting to work with some captains and guide services around North America to supply fishing trips as well. So.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. So when we raise support for you guys this next year, what is the money mostly going to go to? This Awesome Anglers program, or?
Yep, the Awesome Anglers program is going to be the main. That's our main program that we do, and it costs a lot to run it. So any of the monies that we earn for that is, sometimes we have to buy tackle. A lot of times it's donated to us. Sometimes we have to buy it, but packaging and postage is absolutely ridiculous this day and age. So it really takes a lot to get that going. We got all kinds of gear and stuff. That book that you see on there, that's something that we're giving away free. We just asked for a donation, and we were blessed with 100 of those from the author. He interviewed me, so our story is in there as well.
That's cool. We should we can talk about this more offline, but we could definitely get some of this merch and sell it at the events and try to raise support that way as well. I think that could work because our anglers would love to support in multiple ways, not just in the raffle to win the kayak. So this is great, man.
I was talking to my wife. I was talking to my wife and son the other day, and we're hoping to be at the event in Florida as well. So
cool. That's awesome. So you're going to make up some of them. And where are you located again? Aren't you in Carolina somewhere? Is it North Carolina?
North Carolina. Yeah. Our official, the official address, our location is actually in Florida, but we are physically located right now in North Carolina. So.
Yeah. Right. Awesome. So we might see you at, sounds like a couple events maybe throughout the year, and can't wait to just get out there and support another good cause and raise as much money as we can. So appreciate you being on here. Anything else you want to add? And do you want to stick around at all? And
I'm gonna get back to work. I'm building some fishing rods here. So, but no, check us out on social media on autismanglers.org. We really appreciate all the support and everything you guys are doing for us.
All right, Don. Thanks so much, man. We'll see you on the trail and online throughout the season.
Take care, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, later.
It'd be really cool to do like a collaborative shirt with that.
That's a good idea.
We could do like either our logo with that like font or like that color scheme, or like even do like that color with the with our logo over top of it. So like a tie-dye looking shirt, kind of like the Ocalapalooza shirts.
That's a good idea.
Or a hat.
Good.
Yeah, a hat. Yeah, that's a good idea. Great. Maybe
I typically find shirts to be more
design something.
Shirts tend to be harder to do like limited releases because of the sizing. It's like, whereas a hat, everybody can wear a hat. So
yeah, that's true. We're watching the comments. We're keeping an eye on the comments. Thank you guys for jumping in here. Feel free to share the stream. We're really, trying to grow this trail. There's a lot of momentum I feel like we had based on last year and the anglers who came. So and
even with the hurdles,
even with all the hurdles, that's right. But I'm telling you right now, we can market, we can do all we want. I could get an ad in Kayak Angler magazine or wherever. I could get banners here. I could do all that, but nothing will ever trump or be more powerful than just you guys out there telling your friends, man, this was a good time. It was a lot of fun. And when a business is run the right way, guys, I'm telling you right now, I don't care if you're a plumber or a carpenter or whatever, a doctor, lawyer, when it's run the right way, everybody wins. You know what I mean? Like, we obviously have a business run. We have to pay our bills, of course. But you guys, we're providing a service for you guys that is awesome. So if you're a plumber, you probably hopefully care about fixing the pipes and making sure people don't have flooding and leaks and issues in their homes so they can have a better life. We just care about putting on the best events for you guys. You can have the most fun out there. So you can create friendships and memories and, again, have the best life. And of course, when we do that and do it well, then we will profit in return so we can keep this going for you guys to keep having those experiences. So thank you guys for sharing by word of mouth. And that's sort of my just plea. I want to do a state of the KAS, like a state of the KAS speech one day on here. Just go on and on for a while about the industry and the sport and just where this could go and how big it could get, because it really can get huge. But I see you guys in the comments. Thank you guys.
I think the industry is looking up, and like So what's interesting is I actually just had a story on my page that I had a comment where a guy was like, he had watched that video that did really well for me where I'm fishing that spot. Drew knows what I'm talking about during Caddo where I was up by those stumps. And he commented, he's like, well, how are you in a fishing tournament when you let your fish go twice and then you say it's like the biggest fish of the trip and then you catch another one that's bigger but you don't even keep it? And like he's like, make it make sense. And he was just kind of like, kind of dissing on it. I think he's clearly an angler, right? He's clearly an angler, but he doesn't know kayak fishing. I do think that just goes to show you there's just so much more for this thing to grow because he had no idea that, what kayak fishing was. So I don't know. I just think that that's a prime example of like just how much more space there is in this industry. A lot of people think it plateaued or peaked, and I really don't think that's true at all, personally. But
no,
we'll see.
Not at all. We will see. And Jake, if you want to throw up some comments when you see good ones, throw them up. Maybe we comment on them or just have them on the screen. But Stacy, I see your comment. You got a son on the spectrum, and he appreciates your work. So Don, there you go. You got a fan already right here. And here's other comments, the same thing. Trevor Wagner. So I think we're on to a really good cause. So this is awesome. And then I'm probably missing some comments. So sorry if I miss anybody here, but I do want to say, if you've noticed this, Dustin and Jake, you guys watching here, Alabama and some other states are starting to go to, slot limits and things that are making it more challenging to have bass boat tournaments a traditional way with wells and weighing them. So bass tournaments are going to have to do a couple things. They're going to have to weigh and release right there on the spot, or, which I think will eventually be the case nationally, just catch, measure, release. It's the best predictor of the fish's age, is its length, right? And the age is the best, predictor of how difficult it was to catch that fish. Like, why should a fish that's this exact same fish with the same brain count any different in March than it does in June? I mean, It's the same fish. It should count the same. So length is just a better way to score the fish anyway. And if Ray Scott started bass boat tournaments today, it would never even cross his mind to use weight. It would never cross his mind because we have this iPhone, we have length, and length is better assessment of, like I said, the predictor of the age, and the age is better predictor of the size of the brain and the skill it took to catch that fish. So we wouldn't even be worrying about this. We'll look back at live wells and bass boats one day like smoking on airplanes. I've said it a million times. We will, and eventually the world's going to come to that. So this, like you said, Jake, and the sport has so much room to grow with what we're doing because it's so sustainable and friendly to the fish and the fisheries, which are always declining. They're always getting worse and worse over time. They might have peaks of up and down, but let's face it, lakes are built for power, water, recreational boating use, then fishing. I mean, think about it. What's a soccer field built for? Soccer. What's a golf course built for? Golf. We are the last thing, and they're always getting silted in and worse. They're always going to kill the grass. It's just going to get worse. So we need to find ways to make it better on our fisheries. And this sport and this format, in particular, we love it. The way we run the KAS with multiple bodies of water in balance from one host city theater, and it can hold 5,000-6,000 people, right? It really will be the future, I believe. It also gives you guys a true stage to put your videos on, your GoPro videos, and we're going to talk about that, get into that now a little bit on the schedule, and I'm going to put it up on the screen. As Dustin, if you want to chime in on that, I'll pull the schedule up on the screen and the GoPro guarantees and how you guys are going to get those, that money, and how it encourages you even more to film, which is very easy. And we'll bring on a couple other sponsors too. But Dustin, touch on anything you want to touch on, because you know me, I can ramble.
Definitely. No, yeah, I'm excited about Ocala. When you brought that up, I think we ought to just jump into it. When you brought that up to me there last year, I think it was. Yeah. And yeah, but I also enjoy going to different places that I've never been. So, but Ocala is kind of a little bit of a home section for me. I fish a lot down in that area, so very excited about it. And I think the people that's coming to fish it will be very surprised at the quality of fish that's going to be submitted on this trail.
I've had a lot of questions about that one too, and people are they're always asking like, oh, well, they're going to win on the lakes, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know if that's necessarily true, because if you have researched that area, they catch 10 pounders out of that river like it's nothing.
Yep.
And I actually feel like there's going to be a lot of area in that particular event where you can get sneaky. You can get to like less pressured fish, you know? So,
well, I can tell you that a few places that it's going to be a little bit harder to get into. Like the Ocala National Forest area. The lakes are not big. So they're kind of large ponds, I guess, if you want to look at it that way, a lot of them, that kind of stuff. But they're all public,
I'm gonna pull it up.
and they don't get pressure. I mean, because a lot of them are kind of hard to launch for, in the like a bass boat, so you don't have a lot of boat traffic. So, and there's some big fish. Pretty much any water down there that I've seen holds some big quality fish. So,
all right, I'm gonna share it.
I'm kind of excited about the Withlacoochees, like the sloughs and the backwaters and like the fingers, because like some of that stuff is just, it's like a maze. And like, I'm not saying there's fish in there. I've never been there. I just think it looks good on paper, you know, because there's a lot of like river bends and like back cuts and just stuff that looks fun to fish.
Well, a lot of stuff that I found, pretty much if it's got water in it down there, there's a potential of at least a 10-pounder thing around in it.
Oh, 100%. I've got the website pulled up. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I've got it pulled up here, and you can see the boundaries and everything are on, and the eligible water is listed right here. On, go to kayakadventureseries.com, click on events, click on Ocala. If you want to see the whole schedule, just click on the word events there. By the way, you can still get to your 2024 events, and you can still get to the tournament recaps under media for last year if you want to follow along and read those. But the Orange Lake, which is the #1 lake in the southeast by Bassmaster, the Ocalapalooza Lake, which connects to Orange Lake, so I would imagine that's basically just as good, or it's the same thing. It's connected, right? So Newman's Lake, Santa Fe Lake, Weir, Panosofsky, Henderson Chain of Lakes, and Inverness, the Ocala National Forest lakes and ponds are the lakes, and then Ocala River and Withlacoochee River are the rivers. Now let's go over to the bigger map. That's all the information we have on the website right now. Your event details will be coming soon, and more information will be coming soon. But let's go to the bigger screen. Let me share the bigger screen here of the eligible water for Ocalapalooza. And we'll start to break it down real quick. So, hi, Sophia.
And remember, we got to give ourselves a 10-minute timer on this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good luck, Drew.
It's going to be tough.
There we go. Let's go to where was that? There we go. I don't know why all those pins went away. So I guess I can't X out of this. I can maybe do that. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we're gonna keep it short here. So we'll let's start with
Yacker made a comment about one of the ponds or lakes right there in the Ocala National Forest. He caught 3 that was over 8 pounds.
Yeah, let's
unfortunately that lake is not legal just because it is a private lake. But
well, let's dive into that here in a second. I'm going to pull that up and zoom in on it. But this is Orange Lake, and you can tell us a little bit about some of those lakes because you know them well because you've got a second home down there. Your more winters down there as well. I mean, you got some ties to the area, like you said. So this is the Orange Lake, and this is Ocalapalooza. And as you can see, it's connected by this cross creek right here. So it's a very short canal. It's not even that long. It looks to be, a mile, 3/4 of a mile, whatever, something like that. Maybe a mile and a half. But it's to me, Ocalapalooza Lake and Orange Lake, they're the same thing. There's gonna be giants in there. That's the #1 ranked lake, and according to Bassmaster. And then up here, and again, just so you guys know, we put in pretty much every lake that is within about an hour, as long as it's not, too dinky. And obviously the Ocala National Forest lakes and ponds are a little different, but we pretty much put them all in there as long as it's a decent sized lake. And we don't know about all these lakes. We don't know. So they're not like in there. Some of them could be a trap and they could stink. Some of them could be like these home runs that people just never talk about because they're a little smaller. But Newman's Lake, have no clue. And it may get less pressure. You might be able to win on these places because they get less pressure. Lake Santa Fe, I know the Florida Bass Nation and Buzz and the guys there, have an event on Sunday. They're going to have a Florida Bass Nation event. They push it to Sunday so people that want to fish again can fish the Lake Santa Fe, which is where their tournament's on. So that's what that lake looks like. This right here, it looks like a lake, but it's not. It's just a preserve park, and it's not a real lake you can fish. Then you've got, I think we touched on all those. You've got Rodman Reservoir right here, which is fed by the Ocalapalooza. So,
and that's fed by the St. Johns River. So
it goes into it. Yeah.
Oh, it goes into it,
St.
right?
Johns River. Yeah, the Ocala River right here, which is one of the rivers that we will you can zoom out and see. That's
still a good sign, though.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great sign. The Ocala River right here is in play. Giants are in there. That flows. Now, Silver Springs from right here. You guys definitely should bring the family and come float the whole run on Silver Springs here. It's beautiful.
You just can't
crystal
fish
clear
it,
water.
right?
You can't fish it though. Yeah, but it's got a lot of manatees and gators.
You always see on Instagram in Florida is
yes.
that like
yes, exactly. And then,
but just don't take a fishing pole because you'll get in trouble.
Yeah, don't fish that. Yeah, you can fish on the Ocalapalooza. Once it dumps in, you're good. You know, you can fish at this Wayside Park here all the way, up and down. And of course that Ocalapalooza actually gets fed by the Harris chain that comes out of Lake Griffin, which is the top end of the Harris chain.
Yep.
So this right here is or you can click on to see that's our upstream, southern launch boundary on the Ocala River. It flows south to north. So technically, guys, we didn't list it as a lake. Freaking messed up again, hit that thing. But technically, we didn't list it as a lake, but that's the very north end of Lake Griffin. You know what I mean? So really, technically, I mean, you could get, with a motor or even just a paddle, you could get up in the north end of Lake Griffin and fish any of this stuff here. So if you have some history on Lake Griffin, that's in play because
it's not a real far paddle down to the top end of Lake Griffin. So I've done that a few times.
Not bad.
So
yep, not bad. This here is Lake Weir, and it's connected with all these other lakes. A little Lake Weir looks like it's connected to it, so that's all legal. Again, I've eaten at that really good restaurant. What's that restaurant we go to over there?
Gator Joe's.
Yeah, it's right. It's Gator Joe's. Yeah, somewhere over there. There's Gator Joe's Beach Bar and Grill. Great place to go, by the way. They got a beach there for the kids and the family to hang out on. It's a really cool spot. That beach and the seating, you can sit like over the water. It's really cool. But never fished it, but could be a home run. Who knows? Then you've got and we're going to come back to this Ocala National Forest area, by the way. Another thing to note before I forget, the launch boundary for the Ocalapalooza River is actually below the dam at Rodman. So again, our launch boundaries are about an hour away by Google Maps, by the road. We want to get people back for the festival and the theaters. And so you can go downstream and fish downstream, and you can still take out wherever you want that's publicly. That's the way our rules right. You don't have to come back to the launch boundary, but that's where you have to launch in the morning. You can't launch any further downstream, which is this direction. And that does connect to the St. John's that way. And then there's a canal that connects over here to the St. John's. I only want to bring this back up, guys, is because the Bassmaster Elite Series. You want to come over here, Sophia? Want me to hold you? Okay, my daughter's being shy. She came down here. Like I said, she's sick, and she's hanging out, watching TV upstairs till my wife gets home. But the Bassmaster Elite Series is on the St. John's River the same weekend we are holding our event. So just a heads up, they usually are allowed to lock into Rodman Reservoir right here. So you may run into some Bassmaster anglers in Rodman during that, because their events are Thursday, Friday.
And what's cool about that, though,
yeah, I'm gonna get our popsicle. You guys keep talking.
Technically, you will be able to fish our event, right? Saturday, we do our awards. Then if you want to stick around Sunday, you should be able to watch the final day, the championship Sunday.
You can. Yeah, I think, and that's only about an hour from Ocala.
Right.
Where the award ceremony and all that stuff at.
So that could be an interesting, double whammy if you ever wanted to go to an Elite Series event. So
yeah, we're definitely promoting that big time. They're start around 3 p.m. They're weigh-ins, and if you ever want to see an elite angler, as a matter of fact, I cannot guarantee or promise this, but there's a good chance that if an angler misses the cut, like a Steve Kennedy who fished the Ocalapalooza last year, our event, he loved the Kayak Adventure Series, he loved it. I talked to, who was it? Kyle Welcher. He was interested in fishing that Ocalapalooza and was bummed he missed out. There's anglers who may end up coming and fishing our event. I'm serious. If they miss the cut, they're right there. I mean, why not? Come hang out, fish it, and a lot of those guys have kayaks they bring with them. So, hey, you never know. Might run into some Elite Series anglers at our event on Saturday, and then on Sunday go check out the weigh-in. But the last things we want to touch on this event is just the stuff down here, and then this is interesting. Lake Panisofsky, it's inbound. It's just quick drive off the interstate. 75 goes straight up to Ocala. So, that Panisofsky is another great lake. Connects over here to the Withlacoochee River, which is right here, and the launch boundary for the Withlacoochee is right here. And the Withlacoochee, as you see, creates a bunch of lakes and they're just wild. This is a perfect place to start for the Kayak Adventure Series because the water, as you can see, in Florida is literally just wild. I mean, lakes and rivers joining and giant fish, and it's going to be awesome. So the other thing that we're calling the Henderson chain of lakes over there at Inverness are these right here. And you'll notice that it is a maze. I mean, we literally could have 1,000 people in this tournament and everyone would find a spot of their own, And
never see a person.
But never see a person. You see how they're just connected with all these canals? It's all connected. And it all eventually connects to that Withlacoochee River. But all these lakes from, right here, where the cursor is, if you guys can see that, all the way down to, over here where they stop connecting anymore. I mean, that's pretty much it. So you can see, like, obviously this little lake right here, this teeny one, these right here are not connected. So those wouldn't be legal. But anything that connects to that Henderson Lake, it's all legal. So that's going to be a big question mark. Withlacoochee River, we talked about, I showed you that. And then the launch stream boundary on the downstream side of that river before it flows into the ocean. We got you pretty close, about an hour away, and you actually would be in the headwaters of another lake here. So another sneaky lake, Lake Rousseau, which is one of the Withlacoochee and Rousseau are one of the top 10 ranked lakes in the Southeast as well. So it's incredible how many great fisheries are this close to Ocala. I mean, within an hour, it's unreal. And the last one is where, Dustin, you can kind of take it from here. We've got all these Ocala National Forest lakes and ponds. A lot of them are public to fish. Some of them might have easier access to others. Some of them might be private. So you have to fish for one as a public access, like this one here. I know is there's no public access. So talk about those lakes, and you can tell the story if you want about Dusty Yacker and when he crushed them down there one time.
Yep. North Lake, you just kind of had zoomed in on it. I've got the house on it. It's produces a lot of really nice fish, but I fish a lot of those little back ponds. A lot of them are off of like sand roads and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little harder to get in and out of.
Mm-hmm.
They look like it.
Yep. But a lot of them.
There's a boat ramp here.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of them that has boat ramps.
Any 10-pounders in these?
I would say so.
Look at that little channel. That looks interesting.
Yeah. Which one down here?
Yeah, that little, I don't know. I don't know what that is. Yeah, what is that?
I thought it was it's a house. See, it's a house at the end of the
road. A lot of them have like little canals on them. They're kind of weird how they're kind of laid out. They're just dug out.
That looks like a Jonathan Dominguez type scenario.
Yeah,
yep.
It does. I mean, here's what I don't understand. Like, what about, like these lakes
there
here?
You go, right
like
there.
you said, dirt roads.
Yeah, dirt roads coming in, and then you have to basically drag into it.
That's John's lake right there. That's where he's going.
Yeah,
and that one looks shallow, but this one here looks deep actually. And there's like a little road here that goes to it. I don't know if it's a house or a public road, but you guys have all winter to figure this out. That is your goal. There is information, and we'll link to it on the website of these lakes and which ones and what kind of access they have. Just like all the WMAs we used last year at a couple of our events, you can get information on them. And as long as you are fishing somewhere within that yellow boundary, and you can access it publicly, it is considered legal for these events. And so it's going to be a fun adventure for some people. in these places. You know, is this one dry? Is this one have water? Is there fish in it? I mean, I don't know.
I will tell you that there
is
is a few of them in there that I've tried getting to that really don't exist. I mean, you can see where the lake was, but they're all dried up now.
Yeah.
But Lake Eaton is one of them in there, just off 314. I think that's probably right in there, that area.
Yeah.
It's a tough lake to fish. A lot of mats, a lot of floating debris, a lot of big gators.
Perfect.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I've caught some monsters out of that lake. So,
monster bass or gators?
All the above.
So he's trying to scare people away from talking about the gators, but also trying to say, yeah, but you can catch a big bass.
Like that looks good to me. Like those little channels.
Yeah, jumper lake looks good, and there's a little jumper lake. That's cool. Well, anyway, you guys figured out during the during your winter scouting studies and stuff like that. How do I get back to my maps? I just got to go here again, I guess. All right, next one. Let's go to what was the next one we're doing? The second one is Paris Reel Fest. So this one's cool. We'll touch on this. So there's a lot more lakes than you realize within.
Let's be real.
These are great. Yeah,
we should start with the heavy hitter here.
Yeah, Lake Bodark is the one that people are coming to fish this event for, because you can see on the satellite image the lake isn't even full yet, because this all right here is underwater. This whole swamp and stuff up here, it's all underwater. They left it and just cut out these kind of channels. I don't know how far it goes. I bet you it goes up into here somewhere, but
yeah,
it's underwater and it looks.
Texas guys, but
yeah, the Texas guys would know.
They basically use the same strategy they use with Caddo back in the the 40s, like the late 40s. So
you can see right here, there's a new satellite image that is burying all those underwater points right there. So, but yeah, and then there's like a lot of cool. I mean, actually, it's nice to see the satellite image. So go back in history, you can see where there was ponds. These were farm ponds. So you can actually go find the old farm ponds and stuff like that. This farm pond is probably underwater right now. I mean, there's the fish,
and those are usually good spots. Like especially in Texas, like on Possum Kingdom, if there's a couple farm ponds that are underwater that hold a lot of fish. Like,
let me let my dog out, man. She's barking.
One thing after
you're right, dude. Yeah, one thing after another. As soon as they get home, I'll be good.
Because I know, like,
you guys can
like lakes are not real in terms of like they're man-made. So like a lot of times those like things that they overwhelm become like the best spots. Like roadbeds are good for a reason, because they're like these long stretches of man-made structure, and farm ponds are the same way, like especially in the spring. Like I imagine like those farm pond little dips that we just saw will be big players in the spring, especially the ones that are up closer to the bank.
Yeah, I agree. But that lake was stocked with for offspring. They're literally making this lake, obviously it's for water and power, but they are making sure this one is done from the ground up for fishing, because Texas obviously realizes how much money fishing brings to the state with Lake Fork and what it's done, and all the other lakes at the OHIVs and stuff like that. So the next one is Lake Bonham, right next to it. Small lake. Don't know much about it. People in Texas probably are yelling at the screen right now, and I'm not able to watch the comments because I'm zooming around on this map, but could be a winner. But it's for you guys to figure out. I mean, is Lake Bodark and all the pressure and all the recognition that's getting, and they're already catching 10-pounders. I mean, it will. I mean, 9 or 10. So I don't know if a 10's been caught yet, but I think so. I know 9s have.
No time like the present, right? If there's 9.
Yeah, that's right. In March, they'll be pre-spawn. It'll be the perfect time to be there. And just so everyone knows, speaking about the Bassmaster Elite Series again, we made this one strategically the weekend after the Bassmaster Classic. So you can go to the Classic, come to Texas, watch that final day, Sunday Classic, and then go to the Paris Reel Fest. And we're guaranteeing, and we're going to talk about those guarantees, $10,000 of this one, the GoPro guarantee, and we'll get into how you win that GoPro guarantee. It's not very hard at all. So
wow. Other than the fact that you have to win.
Yeah, you got to win. That can be tough. There's a lot of sticks in Texas. A lot of competition.
Drew's like, oh, it's easy, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You just got to catch a 10-pounder at Bodark.
Hey, good news. My wife and son are on their way home from their appointment, so they'll be here soon. You can take over and let dogs in, all that fun stuff. So my son Theo's watching. They're watching live on the road. So, hey Theo, how you doing? Hope your appointment went well. So Coffee Mill Lake, again, don't know anything about it. It's a 1-ramp lake. That's it. It's right there. You can get to the whole lake, small lake. It's Texas. There could be a 10 in any one of these lakes. This one here is similar size, Lake Crockett. Don't know anything about it. So I know it's got bass in it. I do know that much. The Red River up here, which makes the border, that is in play as well.
Good luck.
There's our boundary for it. Yeah, good luck. Good luck. We're not giving too much away there, but good luck. Yeah. Starting at the bottom here, you've got Jim Chapman Lake, just a short drive away, about 30 minutes from Paris, I think. Not too far. So it's a little bit bigger size lake. And then this little small one, again, Kayak Adventure Series, we use our trucks, Toyota trucks or whatever you got to get around. There are outboards. So why not include every little lake like this that's public? So I think this one, there's one ramp here. It's called Big Creek Lake. So some people,
I think
so river anglers.
That Big Chapman Lake, if I'm not wrong, was it Jim Chapman? Jim Chapman is it's a pretty muddy lake from what I remember. Because I've driven past it.
It does look murky.
So if you like fishing in muddy water, I think there are some pretty big fish in there if you like mud. Yeah, see that? Like that's what it looks like.
It's got some wind
mud lines and stuff like that. So if that's like your jam, like I could see that actually being like a good player. So
for sure. The way I see this, think about river anglers. There's the big rivers that usually are in bounds at the events, right? And then there's also creeks that are also, moving water. Well, for us, we have the big lakes, and then we've got these small lakes we want to keep in bounds too, because they're great for kayak fishing, and they're kind of like the creek. The quote unquote creek is to the river angler, right? These small lakes are to the lake angler. So you got lake anglers who might like those big lakes, offshore humps, schools of 150 bass just munching on bait. Then you got guys who might just want to fish a small lake that's easier to digest for them to figure out, and maybe the bass just feed on bluegill. There's not really any shad or any other open water forage like that, and they don't like using live scope or electronics or whatever. So it's kind of nice that we get, again, our hashtag has been last year Chase the Wild, and we're still using that one, but we really are starting to lean into this because people kept saying it. We put it on our shirt, the Choose Your Adventure part of Kayak Adventure Series, because it really is choose your own adventure. Moving up to this another small lake of that similar size. It's actually like not really. I think what the name of this. It's just the Gamble Wildlife Refuge is what it's called, but it's public. It's a public little lake there.
Another John Dominguez special, maybe.
It could be.
Although it looks a little big for probably a little bit too big for
pretty small. Lake Crook. It's a pretty small.
It's got too many coves for him.
Yeah, it needs to be a round bowl. Pat Mays Lake is one of the bigger lakes in bounds here. You got some nice bayou kind of looking stuff up in the headwaters of it. So there's a nice grass coming in there. And then if you go, there's the Red River we talked about.
I will do like a specific event one podcast as well, where we'll get a little bit more.
We're going to go into more detail for sure. For sure. We'll do that. But that's Hugo Lake, which is across the border in Oklahoma. And this is a Sulphur River right here. It flows into, there's the boundary on it, but it flows into, what is that? Right Patman Lake, I believe. Yeah. Over there near Texarkana. And that is it. Just two rivers, the Red River and the Sulphur River. And one, mega lake that I think people are excited to fish. And then a bunch of like unknowns and little gems that could potentially compete with that mega lake, because they might be 10 pounds, but they were put in there in 2019, and some bigger ones were put in there, not just fingerlings. So they might be short and fat. They could be 20 and a half or 21 inch 10 pounders, but you might need a 23 in this event, 22, 23, 24s, which could be.
You absolutely will.
Other lakes. You will. Yeah. So they'll be in the other lakes, unless you catch 5 20 and a half to 21s. But yeah, hang on. I'm going to get you. My daughter asking for another popsicle, I think. So I might have to get her another popsicle here. Let's go back.
Good, because we need to move to the next one.
Next one. Yeah. Next one is, what's that? The South Boston Bassathon. So again, all these websites, all the pages are.
Which is not in Boston. I've had 2 different people message me in the last 2 weeks asking why we were doing an event in Boston. I was like, it's not in Boston, it's in Virginia.
Yeah, it's a different Boston. South Boston, technically. South Boston and Virginia. But it's really near the border of North Carolina and Virginia, so it creates a border war. And we'll kind of start with the North Carolina stuff here. Hyco Lake, these nice, cool, like I know the Carolina clubs definitely go there, the CKAs and other clubs in Carolina. Hyco Lake is cool. It's actually really interesting. If you actually start looking at it, there's some weird backwaters here that I think you can get to. I think it connects like way down here. It kind of like connects with some canal. There's a lot of just wild stuff there. But kind of like your Highland Reservoir looking, there's look like some docks and stuff on it, or some houses and some docks. So a little bit of everything on that lake. And then there's actually kind of a dam in the middle of it, which is kind of weird right here. You see, this is like a little spillway dam of sorts. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is, and it separates it, and they call this one the upper lake or something. I don't know. Yeah. Or Hyco Afterbay Reservoir. So that's in play. And then Mayo Lake is over here just to the east. Mayo Lake is, again, very similar in size, similar in a lot of ways. Your Highland kind of reservoir lake. And we don't hear about them because they're not big enough for the Bassmaster Elite Series or Major League Fishing to go there. But trust me, they got fish. They got good ones. All the way on the very, very western side, we got the Dan River boundary. The Dan River goes right through pretty much South Boston. So, yep, Dan River, that's the boundary on the southern end, the launch boundary, and goes right through Danville, comes back into North Carolina again, and goes back up towards South Boston here. And then, again, one of these kind of smaller lakes, this is cool, this Bannister Lake. It's made off the Bannister River, and which kind of feeds into that.
That looks kind of muddy.
Dan River. Yeah, it's a little bit, well, right here in this, I don't know if they just had rain or whatever, but I'm sure it gets muddy.
Because the Dan is more of that like rocky clear river, right? Like, because there's a lot of smallmouth in there.
I don't know. I mean, it gets pretty stained. The Dan gets pretty stained too. But if you go further up it, then yeah, it gets rockier. The Bannister is more like a creek. It's a very small kind of like river. So, I don't know. Tyler's over here playing with stuff. Who knows what you're going to stumble on in this basement?
Yeah, this could be a good like largemouth versus smallmouth type scenario. Like,
yeah,
I'm not super familiar with this area, but like I have seen the Dan reference for smallmouth. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, they're in there. I mean, there's definitely, if you do your research, smallies are in there. You're going to catch, there's going to be a mixed bag. You're going to have some spotted bass and Alabamas, even maybe in some of these waters. You're going to have
yeah, because those Alabamas have been creeping really, really far north up in that area, and I know that they're starting to like get really worried that they're going to make it into the upper sections of the New River, even because like I guess they're getting like scary close right now.
Yeah, oh yeah, they are, and there's your typical, this river somewhere on it. There's some pretty shoals on this river here. You got some shoals like this. It gets to, that typical, Appalachian, Piedmont in the southeast, kind of like beautiful looking kind of rocky shoals and islands and stuff like that. It's kind of fun. So, and it's a little bigger size river. And it's actually, yeah, it does. It's also called the Roanoke River on some maps. I don't know why it changes names and then it returns to below the dam on Bugs Island, Kerr Reservoir here. It changes back to the Roanoke River. But speaking of Bugs Island and Kerr, you'll see this is our big, and I mean big, it's a big one, reservoir that you do see there will be some history and some YouTube videos and Google for Bassmaster Elites at Major League Fishing and the Toyota Series and all the different, Bassmaster Opens have been here, right? So
that looks really cool. That looks like Lake of the Ozarks.
That's a cool one, dude.
Without the residential. Like that's really rare to see that much green on a reservoir like that.
It is cool.
And
shout out to all the guys. Go ahead.
There's no docks. Like, it's refreshing that it's just like, I'm sure there's docks somewhere, don't get me wrong, but like a lot of times when you see these big Highland reservoirs, they're just like littered with residential areas, and it's just like copied paste no matter where you go in the lake.
Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of docks. There's some, but you're right. There's not a lot of docks.
Yeah, that was nice. Nice green space, not just like wall-to-wall docks.
Yeah.
I love it. This is cool looking. Like, I actually think this lake looks interesting.
Yeah. And I was going to shout out the Battle on the Border from all the clubs from North Carolina and Virginia who are really just worked so good with us and partnering with us in the sense that they're all going to come there, fish the event. I'm not sure if they're going to make an official Battle on the Border, but Hank was a big part. Hank who writes our recap articles and he just actually finished an article. I got to post on the website soon with Ryan Parker, a profile of Ryan Parker, interview with him, Angler of the Year last year. That's going to go on the website soon. So he's going to do some more pieces like that for us. But shout out to those guys for, really just embracing the Kayak Adventure Series and coming together and making our one event in their region just one big party between the states. So that should be a lot of fun. And then the other lake, which is way up here. We touched on the Dan River, the Staunton, or the Bannister, the Roanoke, Staunton, Roanoke, and then that's all of them. That's the three. And then the last one, which I think some people know within an hour here, is Briery Creek Lake. Very popular in Virginia because they kind of flooded it too. It's hard to see on this map, but they kind of flooded it. And you've got just a bunch of, I don't know where you can see it better, but just timber that's in it. It's just I'm getting bad satellite image right now. There's a lot of just flooded timber all in this lake. If you go in, see if you go in closer, you can see it. See how it's just timber sticking up everywhere? It's all over. I mean, the lake is just covered and littered in this stuff. And there's some sort of I think horsepower restriction as well. So maybe, I don't know if it's paddle only, but
that's my favorite kind of lake.
Electric only. Yeah. But big fishermen caught on that. And Farmville right there is where, Yak Attack is based out of. So we're going to have hopefully a good Yak Attack presence and support at that event. Been talking to Wade about it. Everyone's excited over there. So, yeah, should be a good event, guys, for the South Boston Bassathon. What is next?
What was that?
Was that Dustin?
Oh, I said I was excited about going to that one. I've already kind of scouted a few satellites, and I think it'd be a fun trip.
Yeah, it's going to be
That's the furthest one for me, believe it or not, that one.
Yeah. So what is next? Is that the Great Midwestivus would be next?
Yes.
I think so. This one is, I don't know if we have, this is going to take a minute. I'm going to go fast because we want you guys to see. We'll go from west to east. So our host city, Springfield, is awesome, man. This is going to be a lot of fun. And within an hour, you've got a lot of stuff, and it really highlights everything the Midwest has to offer. You got the Great Miami River right here. This is the southern launch boundary. As it gets closer to where we at there, we went through Dayton, I believe, and now we're down north of Cincinnati. I mean, north of Cincinnati and south of Dayton. So you got that one. And again, your teal colored pins are rivers, your dark blues are lakes. So you got Caesar Creek Lake. And again, these lakes in Ohio are kind of like small, medium-sized lakes. None of them are nearly the size of that Bugs Island curve. They all add up to maybe one of those. So it's cool that we get to include multiple. Spring Valley Lake is this is your Jonathan Dominguez hole, Jake. That's your Jonathan Dominguez hole. Right? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. That upper section of that lake has a little bit too much going on for John.
Oh man, come on.
Now he's getting picky.
Man, Johnny's talking trash. We got 4 rivers right here. You got the Little Miami River. Don't gotta zoom in close to everything here, but you can see Little Miami is little, like a creek. And then you've got the Mad River right here. And they all go into that Great Miami River. Let's face it. We know that's the Great Miami River and then the Stillwater River. So those all kind of eventually go into that Great Miami, but it's cool that you got all these tributaries close by to fish. And some river anglers, like we talked about, they're more creek and small river guys, and some want that bigger water, down there around north of Cincinnati on that river. You got a lake here on the very top. It's actually Lake Loramie. So don't know much about it, but there it is. You've got the lake that if you listen to our podcast, the Ryan Parker, Indian Lake. Indian Lake is where he grew up on, he said. So he talked about it being a canal lake. And I assume when you zoom in, there's a lot of, I guess it was part of the old Erie Canal system, stuff like that as well. So there's a lot of canals all over that top end, a lot of grass. So if you like grass, could be a winner. And the time we're going, guys, it's the June, like it was at 13th, 14th. So it's Father's Day weekend. Also my wife's birthday, so I got to like do something for her on the 14th. But
what better than to hang out
yeah.
on the shores of Kisser Lake?
Yeah, Kaiser Lake right here.
Kaiser.
What better thing to do? And that one I do know has a motor restriction. It might be no motors. It might be
I think it's electric.
Only. Electric. Okay, is it electric?
I think it's electric.
As you move over to actual, Springfield kind of proper here, you got Clarence J. Brown Reservoir. Again, small one, but a lot of cool, good looking stuff on that reservoir.
That's a fun reservoir to fish. It does have some big muskie in it. So there's always a chance to hook something like that too in there.
Nice. And we're going to go check out.
Wait, there's muskie in there?
There is some big muskie.
Dude, come.
So I guess this is my home event. This is the closest one to me, even though I've never been there.
Yeah.
4 hours.
This is a small Madison Lake here. It's made by Deer Creek, I believe. Deer Creek feeds down, and Deer Creek is eligible, and it keeps going down and creates Deer Creek
Reservoir.
Lake, yeah.
I've heard a lot of people talk about that, and I think it's just because I've hung out with too many Ohio people the last year. But that was one. Billy was talking about it, I think, and then our boy Creek Crawler was saying that it's a tough lake, but it's like an interesting lake.
It's got some. So Deer Creek below this dam would not be in bounds. We might want to put a boundary there just so people know, because the downstream launch boundary on the Big Darby Creek and the Scioto River are right here. So if you actually wanted to fish Deer Creek, you'd have to put in here at Big Darby and go all the way downstream the Scioto and then go back up Deer Creek, which is probably too far. But just to make sure that's clear, you cannot fish on Deer Creek below that reservoir, just the reservoir. But Big Darby Creek, you can go all the way down to this point, which is an hour away from Springfield. You can go all the way on Scioto right here to this point, which is the big river that flows through Columbus. Springfield was the perfect spot, guys. We were able to get all the Columbus water inbounds within an hour and all that cool Dayton and North Cincinnati stuff. So it really is awesome. So that's the Big Darby Creek, which is really kind of more like a river. It's or a small river. It's a pretty big sized creek. Yep. And then up here, what feeds into is the Olentangy is right here. Olentangy River goes right through the city here and comes out of a dam somewhere up there. But you got a northern boundary on it, and then you got Alum Creek Lake and Hoover Reservoir, and that's it. I mean, that's your waters. I think I touched on them all. I don't think I missed one. For the Great Midwestivus, as you can see, it's going to be there's a lot going on. So there's
a lot of good water in that.
Yeah. Did I touch on this one way down here? Cowan. Yeah, the farthest south Cowan. So don't know a ton about these, but you guys in Ohio certainly do. I don't know what the comments are saying right now, but people are probably trying to throw people off the scent
right now. And then Merlin was talking about how it'll be his first event, so that's cool.
Nice. Yeah, someone's going to be trying to throw people off the scent, because I know that there's probably some lakes in there that are like home bodies water that these guys know have big ones. And because we're going that June weekend, it's like you might still see some spawning fish even in Ohio at that time of year, especially even in the rivers. But some of the lakes, and it's just the right time to be there. So it's going to be, the water's going to feel good. The weather's going to be nice, and the fishing's it's not the doldrums of summer, like, late August, something like that, September, where it's just like really hot and everywhere kind of like dips. It's the perfect time where they're still feeding up after the spawn. So that's going to be a good event, a good time to be there. So I'm excited about it. And then you can celebrate Father's Day on Sunday still with your family, and the dads can come and fish. The event Friday and Saturday, the way our events work, Friday and Saturday. So I think it turned out to be a good time to be there. So let's move on to the next one here. I don't know how. Let's see. The next one would be the Smalley Showdown. This would be fairly quick. It's mainly this main Mississippi River. Yeah. And I mean, it's just going to be.
I see you guys in the lake, so I'm going to be like, what?
Yeah, St. Cloud. I mean, there's some good smallies in those lakes too, but downtown St. Cloud is our host.
We do have a really interesting. Not to cut this off. We have we'll probably do it next week. We have an interview with the winner of our Wisconsin event, Eric Schreibner, and he did touch a little bit about this event. We'll play it next week, but what's interesting is he was talking about some of the lakes, saying like he actually really likes lake fishing up there for smallmouth. So I mean, not that crazy that you find one of these little like sneaky honey holes. So
yeah,
I think this is going to be
this
event.
This is going to be like one of the events. The Mississippi is epic. If you listen to anybody who's ever talked about fishing up there, they just say it's the best fishing you've ever seen, like smallmouth fishing. And there are pools, by the way, like this pool of the Mississippi River. So you can still get a little lake fishing in. There's some lakes that are free flowing and connected. I know Jeff Lowe went up there and smashed, like, it was just stupid, and just one afternoon, like in a tributary, like 96 inches. People tell me it's definitely going to be one with over 100. And we're coming at the right time in July there, early July 11th to 12th. This is the Sauk River, Sauk River that feeds the Mississippi, and you can go all the way up to here. So it's free flowing all the way up to this. I believe there's a dam, Sauk River Dam right there. And then down here, you keep going down, you get closer to Minneapolis, St. Paul, and you will notice there are, there's this lake here that actually is a lake in the sense that it's dammed up before it goes into the Mississippi. It's got a dam right here, and then it's free flowing into the Mississippi right there. But that's like
I kind of like that.
Lake.
That's kind of cool. Like
separated. Mm-hmm.
Might be less pressure, It's maybe not now, but
right. People are gonna try it, I'm sure. Somebody will. The St. Francis River, and there's also the Arona.
I've actually
River.
seen some videos from that stretch, from where that blue boundary is up into that slough, and then all the way up past Eagle Lake. I've seen there's a prominent YouTuber that does all on that stretch all the way up to Elk Lake. Yeah.
So you can definitely find some up to this Elk Lake here. That's cool.
Yeah. I don't even need to say his name. Like, if you know, like, this is where he fishes. If you've ever wondered, this is it.
Interesting. People will definitely find that in their research. This right here is your launch boundary. So keep in mind, if it's free flowing, a lot of it, when you go up north of a certain point, you get into a lot of natural lakes, right? So if it's free flowing, connected to the rivers or creeks, and you put in at the a legal boundary, which is anything public, that's in between, the launch boundaries, up and downstream launch boundaries. So right here, this launch boundary is right here, but you could easily get up to this lake right here. So, hey guys, all right, they're home.
The cavalry.
So yeah, the cavalry is here. So you could get into all these, any lakes you find. We didn't list. Look, we don't list every creek. We don't put a pin on every single creek. We don't list that as one of your core bodies of water, because that's part of the fun, right? Is finding those things that are connected to the Mississippi. We do list the main ones that are actually called rivers usually, or any ones that are bigger creeks that are pretty big. But if you find lakes that are connected to these, we know they're legal. They're in bounds. We just didn't list them because we don't want to pinpoint a teeny lake, Jonathan Dominguez winning size lake or pond, that's connected. That's up for you guys to find. That's sneaky. And that's what this Kayak Adventure series is all about, is whether you use live scope and catch them out in the middle off a 30-foot, hump, or you use research and, your skill to find something sneaky like that. It's all, just different ways to skin a cat and catch the 5 biggest. So this is the Crow River right here, and it goes down south. What's cool about the Crow, the south fork of the Crow, by the way, we do have a launch boundary right here. But the cool thing about the Crow, it's a pretty decent size river. If you keep following, it actually starts going back up towards like the headwaters here. It goes actually closer and closer to, look at this, towards it's a closer distance as even this bridge right here, way upstream around Kingston. I don't know if it's even floatable at that point, but it looks like it's a small creek at that point, but, could be some fish in it. But you can get, what I'm saying? It actually gets closer, as Google Maps go, to our host city there. So that'll be interesting. And again, anything that's free flowing connected with that, if the lake or a pond would be in bounds. So, and that is it. I don't really know anything else to say about this one. I think the main Mississippi is going to be the star of the show, and it will be a star. Trust me. So next one is the last one. We have a big gap between this one and July, because there's nothing in August. We have a nice big gap between our open finale, Broodstock 2 in Franklin. So here we go.
The genesis of the Broodmaster.
Yeah, that's right. Starting with Pymatuming. That's the one that's connected with Ohio there. And a lot of events are held on that lake. So I think people are familiar with it. It's got some really nice bass in it. Just the south here, again, all within an hour of Franklin. Shenango Reservoir. You can even get to some of the river, or even you can call it Lake River. Looks like river. Right at the border of Ohio. You can keep going up and get, further up that one as well. I don't know what's in it, but you guys will find out. This one I know is popular with people like Wilhelm. People have talked about that. I know some good fish have come out of that lake before. Let's see, Connet Lake over here. It's a small one. Looks a little different. It's got more houses and stuff on it. Looks like a clearer, deeper lake. That's in bounds. Tamarack Lake. Again, these long, kind of skinny river-looking lakes. Don't know much about these, but again, you guys will figure it out, I'm sure. Woodcock Lake is another small one. And then going over to, I think let's go down here to this one. This is Lake Arthur, I believe. Yeah, Lake Arthur. People catch big ones out of this one, I'm told as well. So lots of good options if you're a lake angler. And I think the lakes are going to surprise people in this event. The Glade Dam Lake is a very small one. Small lake. Looks like one access probably. One or two, maybe one on each side. That's going to be interesting. And the main, like a French Creek here, is a big creek. It's almost like a river, a small river. So listed that one. And you've got the main Allegheny River, which is kind of the star. It's like the Mississippi's the star of the Smalley Showdown, this Allegheny, all the way from, we almost give you guys access all the way to get to the below the dam here. You probably could even make it there if you paddle or motor upstream or get close to it. Don't know how good that is there, or if that's super cold or what that does or how it affects the fishing. But that whole Allegheny, look at all this. Speaking of your wild stuff, Jake, and not houses and stuff like that. Look how just this goes through. This is the Oil Region Alliance we partner with. This oil region is literally an outdoorsman's paradise.
And I drove over on the way home from Susquehanna. I drove over portions of the Allegheny and was blown away by it because it's just it's crazy looking.
It looks like the Susky.
Yeah,
it's just smaller river.
But then there's sections of it that are just way down into these rock chasms. That's
that's true.
It's really mountainous. It's crazy.
You got the islands and the grass and stuff like this that are similar. So that's going to be a good one. And you've even got the Tionesta Lake here that's in bounds, so you could fish that. You could, it's cool. You could pop over there and then hit the river. It's right next to it. So there's a lot of strategy that can go into how you guys approach. Yeah, the fallback plan. We already talked about that one. That was Glade Lake. So, and then you can go downstream as far as on the Allegheny. It looks like we got you going. Oh, that's a Clarion River, sorry. But that one is in bounds too. The Clarion River feeds the Allegheny, so keep in mind that one is in bounds, including this part of it up here that actually there's a dam right here, Piney Reservoir. So that's in bounds. And then you can go all the way up to Clarion as far as right here. So, and look how remote that is, just wilderness, cabins and lodges. And
that's like the no signal area.
Yeah, that's definitely the no signal area. And then the last lake I don't think we've touched on yet is this Kale Lake right here. So downstream on the Allegheny, you're looking at around East Brady. There's a boat ramp here, just south of East Brady. I think it's called Philpott, maybe. Yeah, Phillipston. So there's your southern. So that's kind of your water. I don't think I missed anything there. I think I hit it all, and all the tributaries, of course. So
there's a lot of water in that area.
A lot. So, we'll kick it off with Ocalapalooza, and then we'll go to Paris Reel Fest. These are all your flyers here, and we're in the $10,000 GoPro guarantee. I want to touch on that real quick. South Boston Bassathon, the Great Midwestivus, Those are guaranteed. The ones in the middle are $7,500 GoPro guarantees. Over to the Smalley Showdown, and of course, Broodstock. And then we'll wrap this up. We'll show an interview with who are we showing the interview today?
We're gonna play the Riverman interview. It's about 20 minutes long. We touch on a couple things, recapping the season. We give away a little surprise. So
yep, little surprise, a little bit of an award. We'll teaser here.
So it's a pretty cool interview for everyone to check out. But yeah, I mean, it ends with it ending.
Yeah, perfect. So when we wrap up here in just a few minutes, we'll play that. You guys can watch it. It's a really good interview. And I'm going to touch on a few things that are different this next year. The GoPro guarantee. So I'm going to just mention these things real quick. Again, we're going to get into into more detail, and they'll be written on the website. The GoPro guarantee, the $10,000 guarantee for the first event, second, and the last. Basically, you have to, and we'll get it in fine print, so don't quote me exactly on this stuff now because we're still figuring the last parts out. But all you have to do, let's say the normal payout would be $6,700. Well, if you are filming with a GoPro and you can produce to Jake and I, to Jake specifically, he's getting this footage for the theater big screen, 2 of your 5 fish, then that is going to give you the GoPro guarantee and push your payout up to that $10,000. Does that make sense? So it's not that hard. It's not like we're asking you to buy an $80,000 Phoenix bass boat or, whatever Ranger bass boat to get some Ranger $25,000 bonus. We're just saying, hey, go get a GoPro and film. That's the point of this series. It helps keeps our sport legitimate, right? So we can see that your catches are legal and you're casting to catch it. And it's more entertaining. So go do that and post it on social media. Tag us, tag GoPro. And you will get that bump up in your payout there for $7,000 to $7,500 and to the $10,000 level. So another thing to mention on that is Naqua is coming on board as a sponsor, Naqua Adventure Gear, and they've got these little cool battery packs and batteries that run your fish finders. Naqua's awesome. So there could be like a bonus. It might be around $1,000 between cash and product. For if you're powering that GoPro and your fish finder and your stuff with Naqua. Again, you would tag Naqua, tag us, Kayak Adventure Series, post it, and then you get that bonus. So it's not nothing, that's for sure. It's $1,000 worth of stuff. It's nothing small, especially when we're just saying, hey, go get a $50 battery pack from Naqua to power your GoPros, or $7,500 battery, power your fish finder. The AOI package from Modern Buggy RV
is pretty super cool, by the way.
Yeah, very cool. It's a cool. I could pull up their site, or you could if you wanted. But either way, you guys can see. We'll show more about it. Basically, it's one of those trailers that has an overland tent on it, and it's got a ladder that comes down. It's got storage pullouts. It's got a kitchen with a Blackstone and a cooler fridge thing, that pulls all out, and a sink. And it's just got storage for paddles, all kinds of stuff, a little box in the front. And it's nearly $10,000 on its own product from Modern Buggy RV. And of course, they actually make a lot of other ones that are 10 and 12 foot and even bigger ones, these teardrop styles that you can put your kayaks on. Like, so this one, you can put your kayaks on top of the trailer in between the tent and the trailer. So that's pretty cool AOI package. Last year it was about a similar amount with the Ubco bike, but this year it's a little bit more already. So that's pretty exciting. We got that secured. It's actually in my garage. And then we've already talked about Autism Anglers, the Great Midwestivus.
We did have a question about the youth division. Yeah. So from Elvis Lee.
Yeah, we're going to do a youth division. We always are going to do a youth division. So, we got to figure out how to get more youth involved. I think that is probably we might bump the age up a little bit to make sure we can get all high school anglers, because I think a lot of these high school fishing teams, like in Georgia, we had a lot of youth at that event because high school fishing teams, their coaches found out about it and got their anglers in the event. So we might bump it up a little bit for the age, and we're definitely gonna have a youth division for sure. Always recognize the youth. We want to promote them and grow, the sport. Obviously, and youth are the future. So no problem on that, Elvis. And hopefully we'll see you and your son.
I'm sure they're gunning at that Minnesota event.
I'm sure they'll be at that one, of course, and maybe other ones. So any other questions? I'm sure there are a lot of people in these. We can't sit here forever. But Dwayne Wally's in the chat. As always, thanks for chiming in, Dwayne. And Turdy X is powering us again, or scoring our leaderboards again this year. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I see Jonathan's in the chat here. So we've been giving him grief. He's in the chat. Dusty Acro
Elvis
caught those
says
big
he's
passes.
bringing out both the kids are coming this time.
So, all right.
We're going to have a family affair.
Well, I think that's what's cool about the Kayak Adventure Series, the family part. And we'll end before we show the interview with Dustin. Any thoughts on that schedule and those bodies of water? And you fished them all last year, except for that finale, obviously, but you fished them all pretty much. And I don't know, what are your thoughts on where the series is going? And
like I said before, I'm excited. Last year was an absolute blast. Starting off with in Georgia, catching shoal bass, going to different places that is normally not on everybody's schedule, and introducing new water. I mean, the locals still have a little bit of the advantage on any tournament, but you start taking, yep. And we all go in, fish hard, and it's the atmosphere of just finding new waters. But also the camaraderie. There's always party on Thursday night, that kind of stuff. Everybody hangs out, eats dinner together, and talks fishing and boats and all that stuff. And it's again on Saturday, so it's just it's a great opportunity to meet some really cool people and longtime friends. So
yeah, man, thanks. I appreciate it. We got some cool venues too, the cool theaters. We got the Plaza Theater there in Texas. We got the Prizery in South Boston Bassathon. So you guys are going to get to see some new cool, be on some new cool stages, right? It's a real just awesome to have you guys on these bigger stages with lights, and just it makes it feel more professional, more, I know our series is more laid back and not quote unquote professional, but it gives us a consistency to our awards. And I like that. And we get to see the action on the big screen. That the State Theater is really cool in Springfield. I mean, go check it out. Go click on it and check it out. I think it's like a bar venue now / theater like kind of place. They serve drinks and have live music there. It just turned it more into, it's just cool what these every one of these old theaters have done. And in St. Cloud, we're going to be over at the cool Pioneer Place on 5th Theater. So it's very historic spot there. And then in Franklin, we'll be at the Barrow Civic Theater. And that's really cool. I've been in there, and we did a site visit there last year. And I want to thank you, Dustin. You went with me and help convince the Ocala, Florida guys. When we were down there together, we sat and had lunch with the people that work in Ocala, and we told them our vision, and you kind of shared your viewpoint from an angler, and they just were like, this seems really cool, and we are down to try this. And that's, I think, going to be our flagship event every year, is going to be whatever Palooza kicks it off. And maybe they'll all call it a Palooza, like Ocalapalooza and Ocalapalooza, but that'd be cool if they were. It's always a Palooza, and then it ends with Broodstock, right? Yep. Broodstock 2, Broodstock 3, Broodstock. And we just keep this kind of going, and appreciate all you guys and all the support. It looks like we got a lot of people in the comments and pumped up about the season. So, and Aaron Proper's comment, by the way, was the showdown between largemouth and smallmouth. Aaron's from Northwest PA, so he's talking about the broodstock there. So
yeah, I actually think that Pennsylvania is a pretty underrated largemouth fishery.
Yeah,
and there's the one guy catches double digits out there at least every winter, so they're in there in those lakes. I mean, they're not easy, but Pennsylvania's just got so much vast water.
Absolutely. Oh, Tim Isaacs is pointing out too, like the Bassmaster Kayak Championship is the week of the Classic, which is, again, it worked out for my schedule. I can go fish the Bassmaster Kayak Championship and then roll over to Paris, Texas for the Paris Reel Fest, give hopefully some $10,000 to somebody at that event. And the reason I brought up Tim's comment here is because his son, as well, Jason, they could easily team up and be a team, because the Kayak Adventure Series still has that 2-man team division. So it's $75 a piece, 2-man team division. Hop in the car, save some gas money, ride with your buddy. You got a 10-hour drive from wherever you are, AOI is still the same. Fish 2 of the 5 regular season events, and then if you're still in the hunt, come to that broodstock, and that's your final third score. So it's not that many you got to get to. Everyone's got one that's probably fairly close to them, and you might have to travel for 1 or 2 others, but it's not that many. The only other small thing I didn't mention, that we are going to increase the entry fee for the individual division just by $25. So instead of $150, it goes to $175, and that's to help us kind of cover the getting people to this GoPro guarantee. We'll have a minimum number of people, but it's not going to be very many. It's not like we can't give away 10 grand if all of a sudden 50 people show up, but we're also not saying we need 250 people to give away that to get to that guarantee. It's a very small minimum we got to hit. So we'll hit it at every event, I'm sure. But just in case we have some crazy hurricane, we learned a lesson last year. Something comes up out of our control and the numbers go way down. We've told you guys, well, $10,000, we didn't put that on there. Then we're like, obviously, host at that point. Maybe there is no more kayak adventure series. But yeah, this is
fun to have Tim, like Jason both at the few of these shows or events. So
have what?
So it'd be fun having Tim and Jason both events. They're great people to hang out with.
Absolutely. They are. And you will see some more national names probably come. Last year we had Russ and Christine, and we had some big names that fished on the national scene, fished some of our events. Lots of other ones. There's just a couple that came to my head, top of my head. But I would remind you guys that, first of all, what Dustin said is important. No locals have ever had all these water in play at one time, and nor have they ever had eligible water be these smaller lakes that can't handle even a 30 or 40 boat club. So they don't know what's in there. That gives the average kind of angler that lives in the area or anyone who comes, if you live there or not, an advantage. Plus the day-and-a-half format gives you an advantage to compete against the bigger names out there. And the cool thing is, if we attract more of a few more of those bigger names, because they see that bonus and all that, then that's just more, intellectual anglers who are awesome people, friendly and willing to help out. Maybe we'll get some of them to speak at the Bash U brunches on Friday mornings. And we have all that social time built in, like you said, Thursday night, the Friday Bash U brunch, the Saturday after party, the festival before the awards, where you're going to be able to hang out and meet a lot of these people you follow on social media and on YouTube, like we talked about. So it's actually a win for everybody if you have a few more of those people kind of show up. This will never replace us, never supposed to. The Bassmaster Kayak Series and highest level stuff. Hobie BOS, if they're still going, I haven't heard anything about that yet, but hopefully they are. And KBF, I know they're not doing a trail series. Chad said he's going to support our series and all the series and give away some cool bonuses for during pre-fishing. The biggest 2 fish caught will win a prize from KBF called the biggest pair. So you're pre-fishing. If you catch a giant or a couple big ones, don't be upset that you caught them in pre-fishing and not in the tournament, because KBF's going to help us out with some prizes for you guys. And then they're also still doing bonus bucks. Yep. That's right. Your specialty?
Yeah.
Pre-fishing? Yeah. Always happens in pre-fishing, right?
Yep.
And I believe Chad also said he's going to give bonus bucks to the winner. And it's going to work pretty cool. If there's 150 people in the KAS tournament, if you win the event, you get $150 of KBF bonus bucks if you're a KBF member. Now you might say, oh, $150. Okay, whatever. I mean, that's $150. But if the winner is not a KBF member, it rolls over. Now we have 150 people at the next event. Now it jumps to $300. So it starts to build, rolls over. So that'll encourage you guys to go join that organization as well. We just want to promote all kayak fishing organizations and rise all tides. So, no entry fee changes except for with that individual division, 175 from 150. So it's not really much at all. But yeah, we'll announce more about the new sponsors and all that stuff. And let's let you guys get out of here with the interview from Riverman and see a special prize and award that he won.
Cool. Yeah,
so, anything else to say, Jake?
Nope. I'm about to say a lot in this next thing. So
yeah. All right. Well, thanks for hopping on, Dustin, and we'll see you guys at the next one.
See you in Florida.
Yep.
All right, guys. Third time is a charm. You guys don't know this, but we've been trying hard to record this. The Wi-Fi is messed up here on election night. I don't know what's going on, but It's all seems to be falling apart. Hopefully not like our country. But anyway, it is election night, and Colin, Riverman TV, is on with us. We're going to do a short segment here, and this will air in the podcast later on. But man, if you don't follow along with Colin, you should. YouTube, Instagram, Riverman TV, making some great content, doing some really cool stuff. And hopefully my Wi-Fi signal will hold true and we can knock this out, man, because you got a lot of cool stuff to share about, filming and, obviously experiencing the Kayak Adventure Series. So Jake, anything you want to add in before we move on or touch on with Colin here?
No, I think we're good. Let's just get right into it.
All right, let's get right into it, man. I guess I gave you a good intro there. So You came, Colin, to the Wisconsin River Fest, and we love what you did with, you and your partner, I think you were fishing with the Minnesota angler, Scott Stolman, and you guys did really well. You even, you filmed, with your GoPros as part of your setup, and just sent us some really cool footage. I mean, it was all what we're looking for from the angler. So how did you feel about that event and incorporating the filming aspect of it and the theater and showing the videos and the team format? Just touch on a few of those things.
Bowling alley.
Yeah, well, it's true. The bowling alley at that one, it wasn't exactly a theater, but unique award ceremony. Yeah, for sure.
So really my favorite part of the series just has to be that first little half day. I came up with no practice. And so having that really gave me some sort of opportunity to kind of get an idea of what's the fish were doing just on the most basic level, pick up on a pattern or two, and then kind of roll into the next day with that. But really that first day, like, you feel the excitement and the pressure of the tournament a little bit as, time gets rolling on. But I felt a lot more relaxed that day, and it just kind of built some confidence in me to go into the second day and know that, wow, we have 8-9 hours to fish the next day. This was just a quick little evening trip. I don't know, going into that second day, I really had a lot more confidence, even though I was going into like a totally new stretch of river. It felt like practice to me, but it was practice that actually meant something. So I think that is the coolest part by far about the series for me. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I think it's been, wouldn't you say, Jake, it's been like higher on people's lists than I realized, that Friday half day session.
And I think the feedback on it has been positive. And at the same time, it's hard I've been telling people, like, hey guys, if you can't pre-fish, the Friday thing is almost like your get out of jail free card. It's like a mulligan essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you can't make it for pre-fishing, you get that Friday period to actually, try to figure them out. So I think a lot of people caught some really good fish on those Friday sessions. Just that broodstock, I think the dude had 94 inches on Friday evening.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I think even at Riverfest, the guy who was sitting in first after day one, had to be up over 90 the day one. I know he was up by the Lemon Weir because Scott was up there. But I was, considering going up there. But that's the kind of decision you make, right? You have that first day. Let's split up. What do? We go together and kind of explore around the same area, or cover a lot more water apart.
Right. And just to clarify, it wouldn't be the same if it was, the Friday 4 hours and you had to get 5 fish or at least 3 fish that day.
Mm-hmm.
It's just 5 fish between the Friday half day and Saturday. So that's what gives you this laid back sort of feeling of just, and it's kind of nice to have to get up super early too. You know what I mean? Like, you're all just kind of there at the Bash U brunch, getting breakfast and hanging out. And then all of a sudden,
course, Drew would like that.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. I'm not not an early morning guy.
Well, for a series like ours, it's a little bit more laid back, less intimidation. Just, it's kind of fun to like not have to get up, because it's great. Think about it. If you do pre-fish for a few days, then you have to get up early for a 2-day tournament. That's 2 more days. You are just exhausted no matter how old you are. I mean, I'm getting up there where I feel it even more at these tournaments. But even when I was like in my 20s or whatever, in 30s, dude, I was like whipped after that many days of just going hard all day long. So I like that answer. That's a good one, the Friday afternoon session, because we have seen it go a lot of ways. I mean, help a lot of people, even at the very beginning when they said, there was a little pushback, like, man, Friday, that means you have to take off work on Friday, and other events, typical 2-day kind of events are Saturday, Sunday. But they started to realize what I was saying, I think, and that it's easier to take Friday off of work than Monday. And if you do go on a national level trip, unless it's like right in your backyard, if you make the awards on Sunday, you're not out of there till 7:30, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
You're not going. Yeah, you're not getting home. You're taking off work on Monday, which is the busier work day of the week.
For sure.
It's tough.
It's been a problem in like the Hobie BOS for me. Not that I've won, but I've won Big Bass twice, and I've had to bolt out of there before.
I used your picture this year.
Yeah, well, that was one of them, but I did it down at Watts Bar too. But I had to, and that's a pretty far drive from Illinois, so I had to skedaddle on Saturday to get back, and couldn't be there to get it. And not that that's a huge accomplishment, but it would be cool to take part in stuff like that.
100%, man. And like the other thing that it does, the Friday Saturday allows us, which I think is the biggest part of the Kayak Adventure Series, is the camaraderie. It allows everyone to still, gives them no reason not to return on Saturday for the festival, the food, the music, the games, Toyota truck demos, whatever people were doing, the e-bike demos with the Upco bike and all that fun stuff we had back at the festival, and be there for what you just said, Colin. If you go back to an awards and no one's there on Sunday, there's a camera on and people around the country watching, but no one is actually in the crowd. It's not as cool, man. You want your peers, your friends to like all be there to cheer you on and see you win or win Big Bass or whatever. Being on the stage is just a big deal. That's why we give the medallion to the top 15% that make it, the top 10 that make it on stage.
Right.
At the KAS. So that's what I think is the coolest part about the Friday, is that it lets us finish on Saturday, in which we can party the night away, and then we have all Sunday to drive home. So
yeah, well, I have to give you guys props for the Saturday awards, because I was able to meet some people that, are even local to Illinois here that we just don't cross paths out on the water or for whatever reason, and actually met them at the awards, was able to shake hands and say, hey man, fan, finally good to meet you. And that was for a good number of people from Illinois, Minnesota, Ohio, people that I had talked to online for months, if not years. And then now all of a sudden they stick around on that Saturday, and I'm able to hang out and, become better friends with them, which is part of the goal with this series, as far as I can tell, in addition to the competitive fishing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, for sure.
COVID got us doing so much virtual. We just kind of lost touch with how important that interaction is. So, but yeah, let's get into some of your filming. You do some stuff on YouTube and Instagram, and probably other platforms if you want to shout them out. But you filmed at that event and actually put up a really cool edit that we showed off at the next event too.
At Broodstock.
At Broodstock, yeah. So I thought this was a really good edit because it showed kind of like your whole now maybe there wasn't as much stuff from like the awards and all that stuff, but it showed the whole like tournament process and the nature. It wasn't just fishing. It was kind of like a little bit of everything cool. And it was set to, it wasn't like some crazy wild edit either. And it wasn't some crazy long edit. And I think that's what like GoPro being a part of this, what we're looking for to show people like, hey, this doesn't have to be some 30-minute recap of your tournament with every fish catch. Just show off how cool that river and the area is, and just you had some cool cuts and edits. We can play it for sure. I think we have it queued up. I loved it. It built up that music.
Let her rip whenever you guys are ready, or I can talk about it.
Here we go. I love how this builds.
I forgot it rained.
$2:30, time to launch. Kayak Adventure Series here on the Wisconsin River. Never fished here before. Let's go find some fish.
Love that.
I love that clip.
Yeah. That's a good one. Oh.
They were crazy that week.
Yeah. You can tell. heartbreak.
Uh-oh.
That's cool. That's it.
Thanks. Appreciate that, guys.
Simple, short, sweet, some cool little crop ends, and like, with that fish jumping over, and some showing the heartbreak, showing like, the good, the bad, like all that is kayak fishing and all that is a KAS event. So that was pretty cool. So anyway, I tried the Hero 13 Black yet, or not had a chance to try that new one?
No, I've actually got an older GoPro.
Yeah.
I think it's a 7 Black actually, so it's significantly older, but it still does the job. Stabilization is good. I just like how it works for me.
Well, we got a little announcement for you. I don't know. This is the GoPro Edit Award. Maybe doesn't look that great there with all of us on the screen, but that's the GoPro Epic Edit Award logo, because we are going to award you the overall year-long competition that GoPro had. We shared that clip with them, and they loved it. And we've been announcing, if you tag GoPro and Kayak Adventure Series, then they're going to give away, the winner is going to get $1,000 in the latest GoPro. So we're excited to announce that you are the winner for that epic edit right there. It wasn't something crazy like people thought they had to do. It was just, but it also wasn't just a single clip, but it could have been. We certainly looked at a lot of those and considered some, just a one uncut clip. But yeah, man, you're going to get that Hero 13 Black. They might send you the legit kit, which has all the different lenses and everything. And
that's awesome.
I've been filming with it. I love it. Sounds like you need an upgrade anyway. So
yeah, I would love an upgrade.
Yeah, that's awesome. And they're going to send you $1,000 too. So thanks for tagging Kayak Adventure Series and GoPro, and thanks for being a part of the Kayak Adventure Series. And this is the kind of stuff, guys, that you can be a part of. So pretty exciting, man. So
well, that is exciting. I didn't know coming into this that was going to be the case. So thanks to you guys. Thanks to GoPro. And really, as far as like the filming goes, like, if you guys have seen any of my videos or the channel or anything, I don't have a whole lot of fancy gear. I've got a camera behind me, a camera in front, another GoPro that I'll keep down to my side sometimes, and then a phone. I just recently got a drone, but that, without that even, you can do a lot more than you think. And you just have to be a little bit creative with how you shoot some things. Now, 2 cameras are like static, right? Always in the same place, but you can always think about that third angle and what you want to do with that, because that's something you can cut to. That's not going to be like your main video every single time you go out and record.
And I think people underestimate how difficult it is to come up with like a full YouTube video. Like obviously I've made some, recorded a lot of stuff, but it's difficult when you start getting that second and third camera in there. Like I've been running a front camera pretty exclusively the last like half year. But before that, it was just the one in the back, and I realized how limited you are when you only have one GoPro. And then I was like, but what if I had a third? And it's just like, once you start going down that rabbit hole, because then you're just like, you got to worry about 3 GoPros plus 3 SD cards. Those SD cards will fill up fast.
File management is no joke. And I didn't realize until you start recording in a little bit higher resolution, and then you are, I'm coming off the water, like let's say up in Wisconsin, right, for the tournament or fun fishing. It's a 9-hour day out there, 10 hours. You drive to the hotel, and then the first thing you have to do is offload all your footage, because otherwise you're not going to be able to record the next day. And then if you do that day in, day out, like I did 7 days in a row this summer, and it was like just exhausting. I'd be getting back at 11 p.m. and having to
I need to buy wholesale hard drives, because it's just, I feel like I always need another hard drive.
I know. Yeah, same. I am with you.
I was going to show this. Sorry, I didn't mean it to come up already, but this is Hero 13 footage here.
That looks like a cool spot up in Michigan.
Yeah, right. This is some Hero 13 footage. You'll see in the top right. I get smashed here, but so yeah, the camera has been working great. You're gonna love it. And anyway, so it was a cool fish catch, and it is on a prototype bait though that I made. But Hero 13's been working great, and we're excited, man, that you got that. It was well deserved, for sure. So I'm excited to see more people win cameras and cool stuff like that next year. Now, you guys speaking about 3 cameras, I'll tell you what I do, because this is a good conversation with Colin here. I've learned, because so I'm not a YouTuber. I do film my tournaments and fishing some. And as I've gotten busy with family, I don't like have time to make like videos and stuff, but I want to film everything and I still want to make it good and have the potential for multiple angles. So what I've done is I just literally hardwire that rear GoPro Hero 13 Black, or 12 or 11, whatever, 7, whatever you got works, hardwire it and let it roll on a 256 gigabyte card in 4K. Yeah. Usually that's enough. I mean, it's in a tournament that almost covers like 8 hours, but you're not fishing every second. You're motoring or paddling different places. There's little times where you can turn it off to save that little bit you need. And then because some 500 whatever like cards glitch, the smaller you can get is a little bit better. I think the higher you get, they just have issues sometimes. But then that's that rear angle. I use Super View. I just want to get every piece of the action on that one to make sure I don't miss something. And then I do have one in the front, like you're saying, like just like yours is, Colin. Probably yours too, Jake. But that one, it's not hardwired. I don't even turn it on. It's just one battery. I might have like a spare battery in case I forget and leave it on. But it's the only time I realize in editing, you cut to that clip most of the time. It's just to show off that hero shot, that fish, or maybe the landing of the fish. In which case, it's not that hard to voice control that one, or just mine's close enough. I can just in the middle of my fight, I can even just go up there and tap it, or you could use the remote. I have the remote I used to use as well. It's pretty easy. You just have a little remote on your wrist or whatever. So that's the only one that like you only really need it for the landing of the fish and just showing off the hero shot. That's it. And then the third angle, like you're saying, I can pull off the new Hero 13 actually has that magnetic clip thing. Yeah. It moves so easily between mounts that you just pop that one off, take it to, or if you have your, like I have a boomstick or, Yak Attack, if you have it set up like in your black pack or something, you got just, if it's easy, just pull it out and use that as a release stick, you know what I mean? Or another angle, any B-roll. So it's kind of like, dude, you just need two and only one of them has to stay on the whole time. That's it. And then you could have this video with all these different angles and it's pretty darn simple as well, I think. So it takes a while to dial it in. But again, I'm not doing it as like full on in depth as I think, Colin, you're doing right now, and a lot of other folks that are true like YouTubers. So
yeah, I do leave all my cameras hardwired because I've just learned either I'll forget to get them going when I need to, or like this is the biggest hack for everybody. If you want to catch fish and you're not catching them, turn off all your cameras, because as soon as you do that, you'll catch fish. And I've had so many lessons learned in that regard that I don't even take the chance anymore. Just run them and see what you get.
I'm the same way. Like I have my front camera. I have it hardwired now because I used to have the graph on the front of the Shoaly, and now I just, instead of the graph wire coming out, it's the camera wire.
Yeah.
It works out because I just run it to like I think it's like a 20,000 whatever milliamp battery pack. I don't even use a lithium for the front one. I do use a lithium for the back, but and that also will charge your phone and all that. So
that's right.
I'm just trying to simplify because it's just been, these kayaks get heavy once you throw in all the recording gear.
Yep, that's why I just go that way to simplify it. Sometimes I put a chest.
You mean you could just put a two talons on the back?
Yeah, that's true.
That doesn't weigh anything.
No, not at all.
You'd be surprised. They are super light.
I saw a post. He said they were light, but I'm looking at them.
I was blown away.
They're light.
When I got to the Airbnb, I like saw them on the front porch and I'm like, oh, I'll move these, and I like pick it up. I'm like, what? And that was with the pump in the box, and like I moved both at the same time.
Yeah, they're pretty light. 13 pounds, like 13 pounds. Yeah, Jake, you're ripped for sure. It was, it's a fun, interesting setup for sure. But the filming, I guess the point is for everyone watching here who may not be like into it as serious if they don't film at all. I mean, just hardwiring one is just not that hard these days. It's not. You're going to get all the action. And it's worth it. So it might have some special, even some more new and better bonuses next year for people that film, So I'm excited for next year's season to see where we can get. Maybe we'll see Colin at another event. I know we got the Upper Mississippi. You'll probably be into that one. You're a big smallmouth guy, so the Upper Mississippi, I'm sure, might have an event. It moved over here. I have one change. We have some TBDs to Ohio, so that's not far away. Even the western part of PA is not far away where our broodstock is. So there's definitely several within your reach. And of course, people are always looking to get to Florida, in February with our kickoff event, Ocalapalooza, 21st and 22nd. So maybe who knows where we'll see the Riverman. Rivers are all over the country. So Riverman might show up anywhere and everywhere because we allow rivers, lakes, creeks, all the above in Kayak Adventure Series. But hey, before we let you go, it'd be crazy for us not to talk about your kayak because, it's a Crescent Kayak Shoalie. Obviously, I'm a little biased to that boat since I designed it, but it's cool to see real, true, hardcore river anglers like gravitating towards that boat. Crescent's a sponsor of the Kayak Adventure Series, so no matter if it's a Crescent Shoalie or any other brand kayak, we have multiple sponsors. New Canoe, Old Town, Bonafide. We have Feel Free. Lots of great kayak manufacturers on board. But anytime we talk to any angler that fishes out of one of those brands, we want to get a little bit of their insight on the boat they're using and why. So tell us about why you picked the Shoalie and how you've been enjoying it, whether it's under power or paddle, because it seems like you do a little bit of both.
I do. Yeah. So I think the biggest reason I bought the Shoalie was the open deck. So that was like the number one thing that I wanted coming from a topwater PDL is the pedal drive is kind of like in your way. So I wanted my feet to be open there when things are going down on the river and you've got rods, you got fish coming in. Just that space means a lot to me. But like the more I got out and used it on rivers, both with a motor and without, the thing paddles super well. It drafts in really shallow water. When you get the foot steering on like the back with the motor, like I've got the NK 180 on there and you can just like do circles in a tight little area. It's really light. I love the front hatch. Like I find it really hard for me to go to a kayak without a front hatch. I can't throw a battery or anything in there without kind of worrying about it. So that was a big draw for me too. But just the simplicity of the boat is what I like the most. The only holes I put in it were for the motor mount. And then aside from that, I've literally done nothing. I've got like my transducer coming through the scupper, going into the front little hatch. Like there's nothing complicated about my setup and you don't really need to do much. And that's my favorite thing about the kayak. Right out of the box, you're like, okay, let's go hit the river.
That's the way it should be. That's really the way it should be. I mean, when products are truly designed by someone who knows what they're doing and obviously does that sport or hobby or whatever, that's the way it should be. I mean, honestly, you do a little bit, but not too much. You don't need to do too much with that boat. So whether you paddle or motorize it, it is cool. It's like a mini little jet boat in the river. I mean, once you put a motor on it, and then it's light enough in the times you don't need a motor, dropping off bridges and creeks and little creeks and just tough accesses, whatever, portaging. It's just light enough to do all that as well, but yet still big enough and wide enough to stand in. So kind of like that perfect, like midpoint for most people. So
I mean, you can walk to the end of it. There's a clip I actually think will be on my page in the next few days, or of me walking into the Shoalie from the end. So like, if you understand like the tolerances of that boat, it's pretty stable. Like I think that every boat's different, but it's really just like how comfortable you are in the boat. And like I got a CK2 for big water this year, and like I hated not having a hatch. Like hated it.
Yeah, like you're saying. Yeah, you're right. And it's so like the hull is so nice and rounded and flat, which is so good for a river. It doesn't get rocks caught up on it when you get cross current and you're in shallow because it's just flat. It's either scrubbing the whole thing barely or nothing at all. It's not getting caught. None of those like undulations and funky shapes, which are good for certain things like tracking, maybe whatnot. But once you have a motor on it, and this still has a nice keel that helps the tracking, which a lot of tracking has to do with just your paddling, if you're paddling and how well you paddle and how evenly you paddle. And then secondly, with a motor, it's irrelevant, right? Because you're sitting there using the motor to keep it straight. So, but when you need that maneuverability, it's there with that whole design, which is cool for rivers. Because when you're just paddling, for example, you want to be able to turn and get broadside with the current and not have the boat, the wall of water from the upstream water hitting the side of your boat and pushing you downstream faster into the obstacle that you were turning to avoid. And then if it's a heavy boat, it takes many paddle strokes to get up and moving to even avoid that obstacle. So I think we did a good job of making it a very like a little sports car, maneuverable, and then which is great for the rivers, all the obstacles and stuff you have to avoid, but yet not too heavy.
I mean, it gives, like when you are turning right and you need to do a quick turn, because I've had to do a 180 maneuver coming down rapids, and I can do that in one paddle stroke, and it has that primary stability, which some people when they lean, they think it's not stable, but it's not until you find like the secondary stability that you realize like, oh, I've actually got a lot of give on either direction when I start leaning in the kayak, and it is stable. Like I stand up in it in the river going downstream in the current, but I also take it out on Lake Michigan in Chicago, and I fish like when there's some chop out there, and I feel comfortable doing that. So, I mean, that says a lot about the overall stability of a boat too. When you can take it from the river all the way to a big lake like that, that'll eat you alive. I don't know. I like the show.
I like it. It's a good starting point for us. We got a new one coming out eventually here. So
you guys going to move that seat up a little bit?
We got a new one. So you'll see. Well, you know,
have
the
you
motor.
Where Drew puts, have you seen
I put my seat way forward.
Someone told me, I was like, that's the only change I would make is move it up a few inches.
I use the high seat. Well, and just for motorized purposes, really. You don't need it like for anything else.
I mean, even I'm tall and I'm like leaning forward, like, you know, like I watch like the footage back of my front camera and I'm like lurching towards.
You have to get out there. Well, I will say that for me, it's also like the amount you kind of lose a little bit of storage in the back. Like your box is a lot closer to you with the seat that far back. And so sometimes like I've noticed when I'm going around with my right hand, I'm like maybe hitting a rod or getting caught on hooks, or it's like in a very inconvenient location. I can't get to something real quick. I mean, overall, you know, huge fan. If I could move it up just a little bit, that's my only gripe. But you know, there's pros and cons to every change you make on a boat. That's right. Yeah, that's true. Well, cool, man. Glad you love it. And anyway, anything else you guys want to touch on while we got Colin here? Jake, you can think of?
No, I think we did a good job talking about it.
I think so, man. I think so.
Just want to say thanks again to you guys and GoPro, and really, you know, the fact that I like to fish rivers and you guys allowing for that at all these different locations is a huge pull for someone like me who wants to spend a lot of time in the river if I can. And I know there are many guys like me who also like to fish tournaments. And so when you put that into the format, it just really invites a lot more anglers, in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, thanks to you. Thanks to GoPro. Throw their logo up there one more time. Huge thanks to GoPro, and we'll shoot us your address. So we got to get it over to GoPro so they can ship it to you. And I'll probably get an email with you and them. And they can see how to transfer you some money too. So awesome, man. Excited about it. Excited to see where the Kayak Adventure series is going. And go follow along with Riverman TV on all social media platforms. Catch you guys later. Yep. Thank you. See you.